Today we're going to be talking about Seed of Chucky on 4K Blu-ray. Is it worth the upgrade? Does it live to the hype of the past releases? Let's talk about it. What is up, everybody? I hope you guys are having a great day. Today we're going to be talking about Seed of Chucky on 4K Blu-ray. Now, Seed of Chucky and Cult of Chucky are kind of the hardest movies to recommend. I know a lot of people either really do love it, and then a lot of people really don't like it, especially for just how much it veers off from its original message. I feel like with movies like Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street, there's always this overall thematic theme and tone that stick throughout the entire franchise. I feel like at this point of the movies, it kind of steers away from the social commentary of consumerism and overall that kind of stuff. Those first three movies, absolutely fantastic and really talk deep into that. These last three movies, again, I will say that Bride of Chucky is kind of a... Bride and Seed are like really... They're nostalgic for me because when I was first getting into horror films, those kind of late 90s, early 2000s slasher flicks really piqued my interest because they were everywhere on YouTube. Everyone was watching those clips, that Freddy vs. Jason, all those kind of films. I absolutely loved as a kid, yeah, especially as a kid. This movie I would have to recommend for fans only. So yeah, Seed of Chucky, a wild movie. Anyways, let's get into it. Starting off with the tech specs. This is again another 2-disc UHD combo pack, a UHD 100GB triple layer disc, and comes with a Blu-ray 50 dual layer disc. Again, region free on the 4K, not region free on the Blu-ray. So my UK peeps, I'm sorry, you won't be able to, unless you have, I guess, a region-free player. And again, this comes with Dolby Vision HDR, HDR10. The aspect ratio is 1.85 by 1, and the audio formats are DTS HD Master Audio 5.1 and English Master Audio 2.0 stereo. So, does this live up to the hype of the previous 4K releases? Because if you see my last reviews, Child's Play 1 and Bride of Chucky, I had pretty high remarks for those 4K releases. So Scream Factory comes back with another 4K restoration of another Chucky film and with Dolby Vision, but I have to say, unfortunately, that I wasn't really impressed with this 4K disc, but I seem to be in the minority as review sites are giving this image 9s, 8.5s out of 10s, so this is unique to my experience. I'm watching this on a LG OLED, so that is where I'm coming from. But from what I can see, in my personal opinion, I was left overall disappointed from an inconsistent transfer. You know, there are sequences that can look pretty detailed, but I was shocked to see the amount of downright soft shots littered throughout the film. Close-ups still remain really sharp and have great detail, but that's, again, kind of really low-hanging fruit when it comes to these newer films. Again, I think 2004, right? So, you know, as more times than not, it's really easy to get details from a film being, you know, shot up close and in focus. You know, if it's a competently made film, you're gonna get detail from close-ups. But again, there's also further instances of dirt specks showing within the scan from, you know, as well as, you know, really bad aliasing at times. This having, again, half the budget of the previous film, it shows the janky CGI elements look laughably bad. The grain structure is, you know, the grain is really prevalent and it looks quite heavy at times, specifically in lower light situations. But then there are scenes that look quite sharp and noticeable for being a 4K scan. So I was left confused on what to think about this transfer. And then Dolby Vision, the saving grace of it, you know, it can add a healthier color palette, making skin tones look better and primaries more rich. But when it comes to the black levels, it really disappointed me here with the amount of detail crush that there were, which is such a bummer from how stellar the previous film looked. When I remember this film looking really cheap when I first saw it years ago, I was really hoping maybe like a 4K, you know, really good cleanup with Dolby Vision would help, but it doesn't seem to be the case. Again, $12 million budget as compared to the previous film's $25 million budget. So it is a cheap film, even though it's not cheap in the grand scheme of films, especially for horror films. There have been really, like $2 to $5 million movies that have looked a lot better than this outing. So again, I hope that there was I hope the 4K and Dolby Vision would help, but it doesn't seem to be the case. That it is also quite dark, and with black crush and with soft edges, it feels like a pretty big misstep from a fantastic lineup of 4K releases. I will say though that there are improvements from the standard Blu-ray release from 6 years ago. The grain structure is more organic here, as the previous releases did feel pretty pixelated and boxy. When the 4K shines, it definitely feels 4K, but the highs are only as highs compared to how low the lows are, and the lows here are pretty low. And then when it comes to the audio, again, the audio is fine. It has a decent range and good use of surround capabilities and bass response, but it doesn't sound like much of an upgrade compared to the prior releases. And then when it comes to the extras, although, there is a bunch more content compared to the last release, it disappoints again, as these are the same old rehashed bonus features from DVD and Blu-ray releases. So I will say these are just my opinions. For me, I was left very disappointed when it came to the visual standpoint. When it comes to die-hard fans of this franchise, if you love Seed of Chucky, yeah, I'd say that this was a worthwhile pickup for those who are really interested in it. I feel like you could probably wait for a end of summer sale, maybe a back to school sale or an October sale. Whenever they do it, I'd recommend it getting there. But if you're just, I guess, like, if you're a fan like me of horror movies, you loved the first 3 movies, and you weren't really a big fan of this movie, and you're hoping that maybe this new 4K with HDR, that kind of stuff, really kind of, I guess, rejuvenate that love for this film. Or not even rejuvenate love, but kind of convince you it's not really going to do it here. Again, quite a few scenes of really soft sequences, as I've shown from these screen caps. Now, don't take these screen caps to heart, but they are really high quality, uncompressed 4K screen caps that I was able to source. And yeah, so if you're a diehard fan, this is one of those films that 4K releases that you really need to love the film to really get into. But if you're like a subsurface layer, like horror fan, if you're really into horror and you don't like this film, this is not going to be the pickup for you, especially for how much this is. This cost me like $37 Canadian. And it wasn't a very good representation of the 4K format, and it really felt like a big disappointment. These last 4Ks were really good, so I wonder what happened here. Is it because it's a cheaper film? Is it because it wasn't filmed as proficiently as the past films, so you can't really get a really good 4K scan from a movie that wasn't really filmed to the best degree? CG doesn't look looks really bad here, as it looks really dated. It goes from being okay to like really soft and really bad when there's like, different elements of different things, like a decapitated head in the foreground, being flown in the air, and then compared to the background, look really bad. I'd have to give this like a C+. I don't know. It's not the worst 4K I've seen so far, but for a boutique label to release this kind of mediocrity, it really didn't sit well with me. So I wasn't the biggest fan of this. This is for fans only. Again, these are just my opinions. I've heard from other people that they really did enjoy the 4K transfer. Again, I wasn't a fan of Scream on 4K, and people love Scream. So again, that really comes down to what you're looking out for in a 4K. If it just, really comes down to whether you want a decent upgrade from, Blu-ray to 4K, having that upgrade. So those are my opinions. Let me know down below. Did you guys pick up Seed of Chucky on 4K? Did you get that really cool set with the alternative artwork and the poster and everything? That looks really cool. We're all entitled to our opinions, so don't be a dick about them, okay? So anyways, that was my opinion. Let me know down below what you thought about this film, and I'll see you guys next time. If you enjoyed this review, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I will say I did not get Curse of Chucky because personally I wasn't a fan of the movie, and I wouldn't see myself spending $37 on that movie. So anyways, peace out, guys. Like, subscribe, all that kind of jazz. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out, guys. Have a good one. Cheers.